Most people don't feel lost because they are weak. They feel lost because they are overloaded. Every morning you wake up into noise, news, social media, opinions, expectations. Everyone telling you what you should do, who you should be, what a successful life is supposed to look like. And somewhere in all that noise, you stopped hearing yourself. You ask, how do I know what I want? How do I know what I really need to do? But the real question is, when was the last time you were actually involved in your own life? But the biggest lie we were taught. Here's the lie most people live by. There is a formula for life, a right decision, a perfect system. If I just follow the rules, everything will work. So people collect philosophies, bond values, ideologies, productivity systems, self-help formulas. They say, I only want to do what works. But here's the brutal truth. If you already knew what works, you wouldn't be confused. What works is not a commandment. What works is not an oath. What works is not something you decide once and follow forever. What works is something you grow into. Why formulas fail you. Life is not a math problem. It's a living process. What worked for you 10 years ago may not work today. What works for someone else may destroy you. Yet people keep copying other people's routines, other people's goals, other people's lives. They don't live, they imitate. And imitation kills clarity. Because the moment you try to live someone else's life, your inner voice goes silent. The real reason you feel confused. You don't feel lost because you lack intelligence. You feel lost because you lack involvement. You go through life half awake. You do things mechanically. Wake up, work, scroll, eat, sleep. But you're never fully there. You are physically present but mentally absent. And where there is no involvement, there is no clarity. Clarity does not come from thinking more. This is important. Most people think clarity comes from more thinking, more planning, more analyzing. But thinking without involvement creates anxiety, not direction. Clarity comes when you are fully engaged with what is in front of you. Not tomorrow, not 5 years from now, right now. Stop deciding what is important. Here is a mistake that destroys awareness. You decide what matters before you experience it. This is important. That is not. That is, this deserves my attention. That doesn't. So you move through life selectively blind. You only listen when it benefits you. You only observe when it serves your goals. You only care when there's a reward. But life does not reveal itself to selective attention. Life opens up only to total attention. The power of paying attention. When you pay deep attention to people, to situations, to your own reactions, to your own resistance, something changes. You stop needing rules. You stop needing formulas. You stop needing permission. You begin to see. And when you see clearly, the next step becomes obvious. Not easy, but obvious. Why do whatever you want is misunderstood. People hear the phrase, do whatever you want, and think it means carelessness. It doesn't. It means responsibility. Because if you are truly involved, you will naturally stop doing what destroys you. You don't need a rule to tell you fire burns when you actually touch it. Experience teaches faster than ideology. What really matters in a limited life? You have limited time, limited energy, limited attention. So ask yourself, why spend your life doing things that don't work for you, don't help anyone, don't grow you? Either something works for you or it works for the people around you. If it does neither, but What is the point? The first step to knowing what you need to do, if you want to always know what you want and what you need to do, stop searching for answers outside. Start doing this one thing. Be absolutely involved in whatever you are doing right now. Not perfectly, not successfully, but fully. Because involvement sharpens perception, and perception creates direction. You don't need a new philosophy. You don't need another motivational quote. You don't need a life manual. You need presence. Because when you are fully involved, life itself will tell you what to do next. And in the next part, we will talk about how involvement turns into discipline, how clarity is built through discomfort, and why the hardest thing you avoid is usually the exact thing you need. Clarity does not come gently. It does not arrive when life is comfortable. It does not show up when you are entertained, distracted, or numb. Clarity is built through friction, and this is where most people turn back. Why most people avoid what they need most? Every single day you feel it, that quiet resistance inside you. The thing you know you should do, but keep postponing. The workout you skip, the hard conversation you avoid, the responsibility you delay, the discipline you promise tomorrow. And you tell yourself a story. I'm not ready. I don't feel motivated. I'll do it when I feel clearer. But here's the truth no one wants to hear. You don't get clarity first. You earn it by acting. Discipline is not punishment. Most people misunderstand discipline. They think discipline is suffering. They think it's restriction. They think it's a form of self-hate. It's not. Discipline is self-respect in action. It's the moment you say, I will not let my emotions decide my future. I will not let comfort steal my potential. I will do what needs to be done, even when I don't feel like it. And every time you do that, something shifts. Action creates identity. You don't discover who you are by thinking. You discover who you are by what you repeatedly do. When you act with discipline, you trust yourself more. You listen to yourself more. You doubt yourself less. Because your mind starts to understand something powerful. I do what I say I will do. That single belief changes everything. Why motivation fails you? Motivation is emotional. Discipline is structural. Motivation depends on mood. Discipline depends on decision. That's why motivation fades. But discipline builds momentum. You don't need to feel inspired. You need to feel committed. The hardest thing is usually the right thing. Look closely at your life. What is the one thing you are avoiding right now? That thing scares you, exposes you, demands effort, demands honesty. That is rarely random. More often than not, that is exactly where your growth is hiding. Your mind avoids it because it threatens your old identity, but your future depends on it. Clarity is a byproduct, not a goal. Stop chasing clarity like it's a destination. Clarity is not something you find. Clarity is something that emerges when your actions and values align. You become clearer when your days are structured, your energy is directed, your effort is intentional. Confusion lives in chaos. Clarity lives in order. Building a daily internal compass. You don't need to know everything. You need one internal rule. Do the most meaningful hard thing first. Not the easiest, not the most enjoyable, not the most comfortable, the most meaningful. That single rule will simplify your decisions, strengthen your mind, sharpen your direction. Over time, it becomes instinct. Why discomfort is a signal, not a warning. Your body reacts to discomfort like danger, but not all danger is destructive. Some danger is transformative. Growth always feels like risk to the version of you that wants to stay the same. Discomfort is not the enemy. Stagnation is. Stop waiting to feel ready. You will never feel ready. Readiness is a myth created by fear. Action creates readiness, not the other way around. You move first. Confidence follows. You act first. Clarity follows. When you start trusting your actions, something powerful happens when you consistently do hard things. You stop asking everyone for advice. You stop needing validation. You stop doubting every decision because your life becomes evidence, and evidence silences doubt. Ow! Discipline gives you structure. Discomfort gives you growth. Action gives you clarity. And in the final part, we will talk about living without formulas, breaking free from comparison, and becoming a person who always knows what must be done without hesitation. At some point in life, you have to stop looking for instructions, because no one is coming to tell you what to do next. No book, no mentor, no system, only you. Why formulas eventually fail. Formulas feel safe. They give you structure. They give you direction. They give you the illusion of certainty. But formulas have a limit. They work until life changes. And life always changes. What helped you survive one season can suffocate you in the next. That's why people who rely on formulas panic when things stop working. They don't know how to adapt because they never learned how to listen. The moment you outgrow guidance. Growth reaches a point where rules become resistance, where advice becomes noise, where guidance turns into limitation. This is not arrogance, this is maturity. It's the moment you realize no one can live my life for me. And with that realization comes responsibility. Heavy, uncomfortable, but freeing. Stop comparing your path. Comparison destroys clarity. The moment you measure your life against someone else's timeline, you lose touch with your own rhythm. You are not late. You are not behind. You are not failing. You are becoming. But becoming cannot be rushed and cannot be copied. Why confidence is built in solitude. There is a phase of growth no one talks about. It's quiet, it's lonely, it's misunderstood. You stop explaining yourself, you stop proving yourself, you stop performing. You work in silence because you finally trust your direction, and that silence builds unshakable confidence. When you stop asking, "What should I do?" eventually something changes. You stop asking, "What should I do?" and you start asking, "What must be done?" That shift changes everything, because must comes from integrity, not emotion, and integrity creates certainty. Becoming a person of decision. Decisiveness is not speed, it's alignment. You decide faster because you hesitate less. You hesitate less because your values are clear. And your values are clear because your actions have tested them. This is how inner authority is built. Living in truth, not comfort. Truth is not always pleasant, but it is always powerful. A life built on truth. Maybe harder, maybe lonelier, maybe slower. But it is real. And real always outlasts fake. You don't need to know the whole path. You only need to know the next honest step. Clarity doesn't reveal the whole future. it reveals the next responsibility, and that is enough. The final realization: you don't need to find yourself. You need to commit to yourself. Every day, every decision, every uncomfortable moment. And slowly, without announcement, without applause, you become someone who knows. You will still feel fear. You will still feel doubt. But they will no longer control you because you have something stronger: direction, discipline, integrity. And when those align, you don't need motivation. You move.